E-waste, electronic waste, is scarily fast becoming one of the biggest global threats to human health and the environment. A vast, dangerous, but hidden trade in old electrical equipment, TV, computers, mobile phones, is flowing from rich Western nations to developing countries in Africa and Asia. As more and more Western e-junk is burned and broken up into valuable second-hand parts, a toxic cocktail of deadly chemicals plus heavy metals is being released and served for the people in the developing countries.
Ghana is increasingly becoming a dumping grounds for e-waste, mainly from Europe and the United States of America. Here we're talking about tons, several tons of obsolete, discarded computers. Talk about the monitors and all that. You know, the problem is that we don't have the mechanism or the system in place in this country to recycle these wastes.
Workers in the crude recycling facilities are exposed to harmful persistent chemicals, which then find their way into the atmosphere and water supplies. Due to recent European statistics, European consumers are creating 8.7 million tons of e-waste each year. But somehow, only 25% of this e-waste is being recycled in the EU itself. And the rest, around 75% of European e-waste, simply disappears and becomes part of the hidden flow of Western e-waste, much of it ending up in developing countries.
We have about 500,000 computers, used computers, coming into Nigeria through the Lagos port every month, and only 25% of these are working. The remaining 75% is junk, it's nothing but waste.
European regulations based on the Basel Convention from 1992 explicitly forbid the export of e-waste from wealthy nations to developing countries. These rules apply even when the waste is destined for so-called recycling. But scrupulous dealers have found a loophole by claiming that end-of-life electronic goods are either charitable donations or will be sold second-hand.
Some come in under the guise of donations, but when you examine the items, they don't work. You know, so one would wonder why somebody would want to donate items that don't work. If it is not dumping, it's just a matter of, or it's just a way to get rid of these computers from Europe to Africa.
The vast hidden flow of e-waste from EU to Africa and Asia is growing day by day into a massive, devastating, toxic monster, already covering huge parts of certain African and Asian countries, turning the landscape into an e-junk graveyard. It's up to EU to enforce the regulations and the Basel Convention, which should prevent this unsustainable and unfair trade. But it's also up to you. No man is an island, neither are you. Don't forget your responsibility as a consumer of electronics. Demand the right to know where your e-waste is being dumped. If no one takes action, the environmental and human impacts of toxic dump sites will become a truly global problem.